Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Real Siberius live stream. On this live stream, I want to talk about 400 subscribers and turning 50. So let me get through my spiel here, and because I'm not really great at multitasking anymore, and then we can talk. So yesterday, I hit two milestones in my life. I turned 50 years old, something I honestly thought would never happen, and I hit 400 subs. Another thing I didn't imagine would happen, or at least not as quickly. I mean, I just hit 200 subs 3 weeks ago. So let's talk about these milestones. I've never cared about age in my life. It was just an arbitrary number. Yet in my youth, it never carried weight. 50 has felt different. It's the first time I felt this way about any age. I think it feels different because the reality is I shouldn't be here. So it makes it feel like there's something significant. I suffered my first head injury when I was 1.5 years old. I had 19 stitches in my head. I was running around on a linoleum floor in cowboy boots and ran into the corner of a wall. At 14, I jumped/fell out of a 3-story window and landed on a sidewalk below. At 16, I was pulled off a top bunk and landed on the back of my head on a concrete floor. At 17, I had 400 pounds of batteries fall on me and smash the back of my head on a server rack in City Hall. At 18, I suffered a major heart attack and had to be airlifted to a trauma center across the state. Also at 18, I had my throat cut by a friend fucking around with a knife. At 47, I fell down a flight of stairs suffering 3 TBIs. These are just the events that could have or should have killed me, but they didn't. Here I am, banged up, scarred, and still trying to kick ass. I don't mention any of this to sound tough because I'm not. I mention it because life is a gift and it can be taken away at any moment. Even with the best laid plans, it happens that we have zero control over. You can sit around and hide inside, or you can go out and live. Sometimes living is dangerous. Sometimes you get hurt. Sometimes you even die. But if you ask me, not living life means you might as well be dead. Does that mean you have to do stupid daredevil shit? Absolutely not. What it does mean is taking risks. It means failing. It means getting hurt. It means believing in the stupid because fuck it, anything can happen. I am a walking example that the odds are bullshit. The odds have been stacked against me my whole life, and somehow I keep coming out on top. It means trying things that scare the absolute shit out of you and doing it anyway, because that's what courage is, being scared and doing it anyway. That's how I started this YouTube channel, because it scared the shit out of me. Because I was too pussy to do it for years, and almost dying finally gave me the balls. Because I had destroyed everything that was great in my life. And rather than feeling sorry for myself, sitting in the corner, I got back up and decided to try again. So enter YouTube. Despite my fear, I also had a false sense of confidence. Before I started my channel, I was very active on a number of other channels, in their comments, donating to their channels, chiming in on their lives. I was known to a small degree. People seemed to appreciate my insights and my takes. I honestly thought to myself, this is going to be easy. How wrong and stupid I was. My first 3 months on my channel was a fucking ghost town. I was making content for absolutely no one. It took 3 weeks before I even got my first comment on a video. I was discouraged, disheartened, and I almost gave up. But I don't quit. I gave that shit up when I destroyed my life. I don't make excuses, I make results. Making content for no one is a hard pill to swallow. I had to find the passion within me to do it for me and for no one else. If I hadn't started doing it for me and my way, I never would have carried on. To those of you that I've emailed with back and forth, and I won't mention your names because I don't know if you would want your names mentioned, that I've talked to about starting channels, do it. Do it now. But you better fucking do it for you. And if you don't love it and it isn't true to you and who you are, don't fucking bother. You will waste your own time and energy. You have to do it the way, your way, with your voice. And the reality of doing it your way is some people aren't going to like it. And because it's you and you being you, it's easy to take it personal. Don't. The criticism will hurt. The lack of viewers will feel like rejection. It will suck. And then on top of that, you will watch your own content and likely won't like what you look like or sound like. It will feel off-putting. Even if you have a great voice, it doesn't sound the same outside of your head. You will be your own worst critic. If you have the stones to push through, it does get better. It just takes time. You have to believe in yourself because very few others will. At 6 months, I had 88 subs. And that was with larger channels like Uncommon Sense, AOH, Sports and Fitness Rants, and others shouting out my channel on theirs. That was with me donating on their lives to promote myself. It got the ball rolling, but I was the difference maker. I learned very quickly that on YouTube, you get out of it what you put into it. I started slow, so I grew slow. I started putting in more work and I started to grow. I started to treat it like a job and it's really started to take off. I more than doubled my subs in less than a month. I accomplished this because I started taking it seriously. I set goals for myself and I started doing the work to achieve them. I'm no longer testing the water like I was in the beginning. I'm now in and I treat it as such. And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the best way that I know how. And the best way that I know how is my way. Fuck the way other people do it. Fuck the way that they don't do it. I do what I want, and people seem to be enjoying it, responding to it, engaging with it. So thank you. Thank you for your comments, for your likes, for your subscribes, for your engagement, for your interactions in my lives. It has made this journey worth it. With all of that being said, let's talk about something else. I was going to say, let me go through all of your guys' comments that I have not been able to pay attention to because I can't do two things at the same fucking time anymore. Holy shit. Pause, Ring Culture, Geloso. Lynetta, Anthony, John, Callie Young. I appreciate you guys stepping in. Is there anything you want to talk about? What's up, James Bond? JXYVO Music. I don't know how to pronounce your name. My brain's too fucking stupid. I'm just afraid that I'll butcher it to shit. It's funny that you mentioned talking about Wimby because that was on my list of potential topics to talk about. I am so tired of this son of a bitch already. Oh my God. I had faith in him his first year. I thought, you know what? Maybe this guy's different. People seem to be touting him as, an old head basketball player. Well, apparently we were all wrong. Especially, oh my God, I almost had a stroke when Wimby was talking about the players today are so good that it looks like nobody plays defense. Let's just even pretend for a second that that's true. It's still shitting on the level of defense. Even if they're that good, it still means you guys need to step up your fucking game to stop them. And you're not. When the shitty Wizards can score 130 points in a game, I'm sorry, there's no defense going on. There just doesn't seem to be a standard for anything anymore. I just don't understand. Where have we gone? Sorry, hold on 1 second here. I apologize, guys. I have this stupid dry cough, and you may have to hear me with cough drops in my mouth because otherwise I will not stop coughing. Oh, okay. That should be better. When you guys are talking about Duke, are you talking about college? Because I don't watch college. And if you're talking about Duke as in a player in the NBA, I don't know who the fuck that is. I've never really been a huge college basketball fan, even though I probably should be because it seems to be better than the NBA. I mean, so I'll ask you guys since you're talking about it. Generally, is college basketball better than NBA basketball? Because I don't watch the NBA anymore, but I still love basketball. So if I have to go watch college basketball, I'll do it. Well, that's good. I mean, I have not ever followed college basketball in my life. So I'm trying to remember what AOH said about reading the comment before I respond, because otherwise people just listening have no clue what the hell I'm talking about. So John Freeman said Ewing would dominate this era and Wimby, my favorite player growing up, a Knick fan. Dude, Ewing would absolutely destroy this era. However, I guess you have to take into consideration, would Ewing have to play with today's rules or would he be playing with actual basketball rules? Because the problem is if he played today, if he played in the way he played in the 80s and 90s, he would probably foul out almost immediately. And depending on who he was playing against, uh, he would be ejected from the game. Like if he was playing against LeBron or SGA or Wimby, they'd get him out of there so fast. Joel also said Hakeem or David Robinson would destroy this era. Absolutely 100%. Big men in this era might as well not be big men. Like they're 7 feet tall. They don't play like they're 7 feet tall. They're not in the fucking paint like they're 7 feet tall. And I hear people make the excuse about the 3-second rule. And I'm not like, that has to affect big men, but you're not playing like a big man at all. I mean, Wimby's what, 7'4", 7'5", and he's chucking up how many threes a game? I don't get it. This whole positionless basketball is garbage. It's not entertaining to watch. It's funny if you ever turn on any sports network, they barely talk about the actual game on the court because it's so boring. You can't talk about it for more than 2 to 3 minutes without people getting bored. They would just change the station. If all you can talk about is the amount of free throws, which are absolutely insane in this era, or the amount of threes that they take, how the hell is that entertaining? I know most of you are like me, and you may watch 5 minutes of a game before you tune out because it's not entertaining. I'm going to have to check out some college ball. If they follow the rules more, if the fundamentals are more sound, that's just more my speed. I tried to watch, what the hell is it called? EuroLeague, Euro something. And it was slightly more entertaining. I mean, it was certainly more fundamentally sound, but it still seemed boring. So James Bond said BB was best when different styles played against each other. Absolutely 100%. When every team plays exactly the fucking same, and then they're basically just having a terrible 3-point and free throw contest, who cares? That was one of the great things about the 80s and 90s is every team played different. Some teams played physical, some teams played their wings more, some teams were perimeter. Every team had an identity. Now, if you were trying to describe the difference between two teams, I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell the difference. They all do the exact same thing. So Geloso said teams on average now take 37 3-pointers per game. And that's on average. That is crazy. Why? I mean, the whole live and die by the three mentality is ridiculous. Why not live and die by the two? It's a more consistent shot. Mid-range has been almost erased. And then when someone shows even the slightest skill at mid-range, they immediately compare them to Jordan, which is just a fucking joke. No one in this modern era has a mid-range game that's even as good as Jordan's mid-range when they were questioning his mid-range. So Taj Raheen, I hope I said that correctly, recently watched 92 Knicks versus Bulls. Both teams were much better than I remembered. I have had a very similar experience. So I believe the YouTube channel is called Channel 23, and they have a lot of video enhanced old games from the 80s and 90s, a lot of Bulls games. Basketball was so much better than I even remember. So much better. I go back and I watch these games now, and I don't know if it's just because all I have seen is absolute mediocrity in these 6 years that I've been watching the NBA again. And I can barely even say that. I can barely even say I've been watching for 6 years. I watched pretty consistently in 2020, fairly consistently in 2021. And by that point, I was like, okay, I've been duped. The NBA is now a joke. So I've occasionally watched games. The most basketball that I see now is if I join 93Z's live stream, I'll turn on the game also and watch it that way. It's not good. It's just not good. Every time we're talking about it in the live stream, everybody's talking about how ass it is or how completely I don't even know the right word. Just what a complete joke the officiating is. How the officiating differs between teams. It differs between games. It differs between stars. I just want consistency. Taj Raheen, thanks for congrats on 400 subs. That really blew my mind. Like, I'm not going to lie, to get over 200 subscribers in less than 28 days literally blew my mind. I can't even comprehend that in my brain. JXY says SGA literally dives into the defender and gets the foul call. The defense is not even allowed to play defense. That's really the problem. They've unallowed them to even try to play defense. Like, forget the fact that they've removed hand checking and added the 3-second rule. Like, both of those things happened in the early 2000s. They still play defense then. There's no defense allowed. I feel like it was around 2014, 2015, from the research that I've done, that really seemed to change, and they started prioritizing offense above everything else and started giving out free throws like candy on Halloween. JXY said, if I can get a foul every time the defense sneeze, I can average 32.5 points per game to 100%. How am I supposed to be impressed? I was watching somebody's video earlier, and I can't even remember who it was because I'm not terribly familiar with their channel, but they were talking about how this is a historic MVP race. He's like, this is one for the history books. It will go down as one of the best MVP races ever. No, it fucking won't. I can't respect anything that these players do in this era because there's no opposition to stop them. The other thing that I think is absolutely hilarious, they still can't break Jordan's scoring record. They still can't beat his average per game scoring in this incredibly soft ass league with no defense. They still can't do it. James Von Doon, thank you. I'm glad to see that you caught alive, and thank you for the congrats on 400 subs. My next push is to 1,000. I've said it before. I still stand by it. I don't care about clicks and views and likes and subs. That's not why I started this channel. What I have learned to appreciate about it, though, is it means it's a metric for people enjoying my content. That's how I use it. Is the more people that are subscribing, it's showing people are appreciating what I'm doing. All praises to the Most High. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And I will always stand on the truth. Sometimes I'll even be wrong. Sometimes because I'm misremembering. Sometimes because my brain is stupid. But if I ever am wrong, I'll absolutely admit that I'm wrong. But I try to offer the truth at all times. Even if it's just my truth and sometimes people disagree, that's fine. I mean, my favorite player all time is Rodman. He's probably not even in people's top 10 favorite players, and that's fine. He's kind of a jackass. I mean, I just made a video that he's dumb because he is, but I still love him as a player. I just think sometimes he has stupid takes, but that's okay. Sometimes I have stupid takes. So Geloso said, I also want to ask you how these reporters and journalists are lying to the NBA world in this NBA era. Man, I wish I knew. There was a time, and I remember when I was watching your video, we had very similar thoughts on how reporters report. Can you even call them reporters? Can you call them journalists? Like, softballing in questions isn't journalism. Pushing narratives isn't journalism. Telling LeBron that he's been clutch his entire career should get you fucking fired. You should be fired from your job and never be able to get a job in this field again, because that's a blatant fucking lie, and all you're doing is trying to kiss ass. All praises to the Most High, said Rodman was the man on court, weird rock star aura off of it. I completely agree. And part of that is both of those reasons are why I like him. I absolutely appreciated him on the court. His defense, I really feel, is almost second to none. His fucking lunacy off the court, also almost second to none. But I respected and appreciated it because I'm also a weird fucking guy. I like doing things my way. I am unapologetically myself. And I respect that. I respect people that just say, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to go my own way. You're probably not going to like it, and go fuck yourself if you don't. That's how I try to live my life. And I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people that love me. I also have people that can't fucking stand me, and that's okay, because the reality is the people that don't like me, I typically don't like them anyway, so it's not like it's really any skin off my back. It also said Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen defense was amazing to see and watch. They were unstoppable on defense. I feel bad because I lucked into being a Bulls fan. I started watching the NBA in 1984. I live in and around Seattle, Washington. I have my entire life. I happened to turn on a game. It was a Chicago Bulls game. Complete luck of the draw. I was 8 years old. I just turned on the TV, and that's what was on. And I sat down and I was watching it. It was Jordan's rookie year, and I was just blown away. I hadn't really watched a lot of basketball. I was only 8 years old. Like, I had seen it on, like, in the background, you know, people watching it, but I'd never paid attention to it at that point. It was the first time that I had sat down and I watched an entire game, and I was immediately hooked. I was like, okay, I don't even know what the norm is, but I could immediately tell that he was different, because he was different than every single other person that was playing on that court, including his teammates. Absolutely amazing. And I was immediately hooked. It was like, it sounds stupid to say, but it's so true. It was love at first sight. The first time that I really saw and experienced basketball, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is just something that I'm going to enjoy for the rest of my life. Of course, I didn't know at the time that it was going to become a dumpster fire that, quite frankly, I'm embarrassed by. Another thing that I did want to touch on, and it's because it came up in a discussion with a fanboy on somebody else's channel: age. age is starting to piss me off. Not my age. I don't give a shit about my age. Age is a justification and an excuse and an attack all at the same time. I was talking to this fucking fanboy and he was talking about how Jordan only beat the Lakers because Magic was old. Magic was 32 in 91. How the fuck is that old? And he's like, oh, he was well past his prime. They just like to use age however it suits their narrative. When LeBron, it's look what he's doing at 41. I'm not going to lie. If I was doing what he was doing at 41, I'm not proud. I'm fucking embarrassed. But they also like to say, well, you know, the Celtics got old. The Pistons got old. That's the only reason why he was able to beat them. What the fuck are you talking about? The majority of the Pistons players, some were mid-20s, some were late 20s, some were early 30s. JXY says, age is no excuse. Magic won at 20. I completely agree. I don't think age is relevant, period. It's either can you do your fucking job or can you not do your job? If somebody comes into the NBA and they win their first ring at 18, congrats to them. However, those same assholes will say if somebody else was 18, well, they were so young. Which is it? Pick a fucking line of reason and stick to it. They can't even do that, though. Magic was old at 32. Well, Jordan won a fucking championship at 35 and an MVP and a finals MVP. So was Magic old? It doesn't make any sense. It's just something that they arbitrarily throw around to make justifications. I think when I looked Jordan's last game, last 40-point game, sorry, Geloso said Michael Jordan played at 39 and 40. He averaged 22 points per game. And that was banged up. Like, had his leg or his knee not gotten fucked up, I genuinely think the Wizards would have gone to the playoffs. JXY, that's crazy. MJ Wizards years, he still averaged more than Pippen at his best. Yeah, that's a number they don't like to talk about ever. They don't ever say that Michael Jordan at his worst was better than Pippen at his best. And yet I'm supposed to believe that Pippen carried him. Again, what are you talking about? It just doesn't make any sense. All praises to the Most High said no celebrity had it like Michael Jackson and no athlete had it like Michael Jordan. Truly worldwide famous people. I don't think younger people today can even truly understand or appreciate how famous they were. In an age without internet, without social media, they were worldwide superstars that would make people faint when they saw them. It's one of those things you almost can't comprehend. It doesn't make any sense at all. So I just added a few more of you as moderators. I mean, I'm still pretty small and I don't really get a whole lot of fanboys, but the last live I did get a fanboy. But if you see those guys, block their ass immediately. They do not get a voice here. Jill also said it's like Larry Bird if he didn't have the back surgery. Could have had more seasons and been better than most in today's era any day, without question. I I don't believe in would haves, could haves, or should haves. I just don't. But I honestly believe that if Bird didn't get injured, he could have been the greatest of all time. I don't doubt that at all. And I know that it pisses a lot of people off because he wasn't particularly athletic. He didn't move fast. He wasn't quick. But I genuinely believe he had the highest basketball IQ I've ever seen. Jordan's was also very high, but I will even say that Bird had the highest basketball IQ I've ever personally seen. And he just had it. Like I don't even know what it is, but he always knew where to be. He anticipated the game. He was an incredible shooter. Even though like he wasn't an absolute elite defender, he certainly wasn't a liability on defense, and his steals and blocks were also pretty great. Just know, guys, as mods, that means I trust you to do what you think is right. If you see somebody that you don't like their comments, you think they're get them out of here. I don't give a fuck. Stupid people don't get a voice on my channel, period. So JXY said, did Jordan still get 6 if Bird stayed healthy, didn't retire, and got Len Bias? Man, that is a good question. I genuinely believe the only reason, excuse me, why Jordan didn't win in 86 and 87 was because he didn't have any help. I'm not saying he didn't have enough help. He didn't have any help. When his best 3 players were Charles Oakley, Paxton, and Woolridge, come on. What in the hell is anyone? And I'm not even trying to disrespect those guys. What's anyone going to be able to do with them? You think if you put LeBron on the Bulls with those 3 guys, he's not going to score 63. He's not going to keep those games close. And Bird would destroy him. So I think if Pippen came along, if Armstrong came along, if my fucking brain, if those few other guys that helped came along and Bird was still playing, I don't know, man. I have just learned you don't bet against Jordan. I think even if he just had that tiny amount of help of Pippen and Armstrong, because those games were incredibly close, even without Pippen, without the other guys. So I think just even adding that little bit of help, especially if they could have added in the triangle offense at that time, I think they would have found a way to prevail. Lonetta says it was just in Jay's time. They were getting closer and closer every season. They were. And then once they finally got there, they were fucking unstoppable. I absolutely understand and respect why Jordan retired and went and played baseball. I have absolutely no issue with it at all. I just wish there was a way for me to definitively know what would have happened had he never done that. Because obviously, if he doesn't take that time off, they do beat the Magic in the playoffs. I believe they go to the finals and face the Rockets. And as much as I love Olajuwon, I don't know if he wins those rings if Jordan never takes that time off. And I don't like to say that because, again, that's a would have, could have, or should have. And Olajuwon is great. But I think a healthy Jordan that never leaves, I think he ate Pete's. John Freeman says MJ and Pippen chemistry was incredible. It really was. And that's why all of Pippen's comments piss me off so much. Like, I watched those games. I watched your guys' interaction. I also watched you on camera point at the bottom of your shoe telling MJ to come back. So all of this animosity had to come. I mean, I believe that Pippen has been jealous and bitter about Jordan his entire career because he thought before he got to the Bulls, he thought he was the best ever. And in likely, he was the best ever on all of the other teams he had been on. But then Jordan showed him, I'm not the best anymore. And that is a hard pill to swallow. Absolutely hard to swallow. And I think that's why Pippen wasn't taking the game seriously when he first got into the league. Because quite frankly, he had gotten shown up. Jordan was better. And Jordan finally had to make him better. He had to start getting on him. He had to start pushing him. He had to start making him compete. And thank God he did. Because if he didn't, so Solomon Trump said, Pippen realizes people see him as the ultimate number 2 option. I think that's absolutely true. I think the part that bothers me the most is how the fuck is that a bad thing? Like, I think he's viewing it as this incredible disrespect or disregard for his talent. That's an incredible amount of praise, if you ask me. I was talking about this on the live stream that I did with AOH and Sports and Fitness Rants. It used to just be considered an honor to be mentioned among greats. Now, if you're not the greatest, all of a sudden it's this huge disrespect. Where the fuck did that come from? I don't understand where that mindset originated. If from what I remember, because it's been a long time, but when people used to say he's one of the great centers of all time, he's one of the great forwards of all time, he's one of the great guards of all time, they didn't even have to put a number on it. Everyone was happy just to be mentioned among all-time greats. And now that's considered disrespect? Get the fuck out of here. That's ridiculous. That is a weak mindset. An inability to accept that somebody is better than you at something is weakness. That's not strength. That's not standing up for yourself. That's your inability to champion someone else who's better than you. JXY said LeBron came up with that mindset. I think he played a huge role in it. I don't even necessarily think he was the only one. I mean, when you have people like T-Mac who never got out of the first round talking about, if you swap me with Kobe, you don't think I win a ring with Shaq? No, bitch, I don't. You were never, ever that guy. Your talent got you to the first round. Your work ethic never got you past it because you didn't put in the work that Kobe did. So trying to say you can easily just swap players out is stupid. Speedy Eagle said John Taylor played with Jerry Rice. You don't hear John Taylor criticizing Rice. No, you don't. You don't really hear that at all in football. Football, I'm not going to lie, I loved football more than I loved the NBA. I watched both religiously, but I was more of a football guy. And I watched football consistently from 84 up until 2022 when I just decided, okay, I can't take this shit anymore. All they did was sing the praises of the past. When people talked about Mike Ditka, or when they talked about Dick Butkus, or they talked about John Elway, or they talked about Joe Montana, they never had to disparage them. I mean, Marino never won any rings, and people constantly sing his praises. He was never disparaged for it. The NBA is the only sports organization that I know that the players just completely shit on the past. How? How did that happen? I don't want to pass off the blame of everything on LeBron, but I mean, if the shoe fits, it's his camp that started tearing down past errors because they had to do it to try to make him look better. I don't understand where tearing down your betters not only became acceptable, because it's not, but now it's almost encouraged. Joe also says Clutch Sports has everything to do with that. I think you're right. I think their presence in the media and the amount of people they've been able to gather on their payroll has completely changed that narrative. Solomon Trump says the NBA wants LeBron to be the best player of the best era. That is 100% true. Excuse me. It's why they have to tear down past eras, tear down all of Jordan's competition, build up his teammates, make LeBron's competition into insurmountable juggernauts that could not be beaten. Anybody that beat LeBron is the greatest to ever play the game. Lynetta says, you don't hear Mikhail saying, I could have won 3 straight MVPs, but they were too busy looking at Bird. And he wouldn't say that to this day. JXY said, you're right. Mikhail never said something as insecure as Pippen. He didn't, because he was just a great player playing alongside another great player. And even though Mikhail was always number 2 behind Bird, he never took that as an insult. He took that as, wow, I am incredibly fucking blessed to play with this incredible talent. I think Mikhail to this day would say Bird is the best player he ever played with. So to be considered in that conversation, he would consider that high praise, not a fucking insult. Solomon Trump said, and McHale was better than Pippen. I also agree with that. I completely agree. Excuse me. One other thing I actually did want to touch on was, excuse me, when Wemby was talking to the press and he was forcing himself into the MVP conversation, saying that he should lead it, he used I instead of we. And that's another thing that I see happening all the time. Players using I instead of we. And I was curious about this. So I've gone back and I've watched a number of Jordan's press conferences over the entirety of his career, from starting out with the Bulls as a rookie to the middle of his career in his prime to later on in the Wizards. He almost never said I. And when he did, it's because he was accepting blame. He would say, I didn't do enough. That's why we lost. I wasn't driving my team to be better. I didn't get it done. It was only I when it was negative against himself. Whenever it was we, it was always praising his teammates. I don't understand, excuse me, where that mindset came from either. Now everything is I. I, me. JXY said McHale is top 5, 10 power forward, but they barely mention him. Almost never. It is crazy how rarely his name comes up. Or if they're making lists, he's just left off the list. They love acknowledging players, excuse me, as Hall of Fame players that aren't even in the Hall of Fame. McHale's in the Hall of Fame, and they still disrespect him and just leave him out of conversations. I don't know where the hell that's come from. Talking about players are Hall of Fame players. If you're an active player, you're not a fucking Hall of Fame player. You're not even eligible. What are you talking about? Especially because I haven't talked about this on, I don't know, one of my videos or one of my lives. I'll be honest, I can't remember. Excuse me. But I was talking about the NFL Hall of Fame and how they have so dramatically lowered the bar for people to get into the Hall of Fame. The exact same thing has happened for the Basketball Hall of Fame. It used to be the absolute elite of the elite. And now it's, they were pretty good. When did that happen? And then they're going to use that as a weapon against Jordan's competition. Like when they were talking about, the Phoenix Suns, and they're like, oh, only one Hall of Famer. First of all, who gives a shit how many Hall of Famers are on your team? Is your team good or is your team not good? That would be like talking about the Brooklyn Nets when they had KD and Harden and all those guys on it. Okay, well, how many future Hall of Famers were on that team and they produced absolute shit? Joe also said it's like Dennis Rodman, to me, is the greatest rebounder to ever play the game, and they don't mention him at all. Rodman is my favorite player of all time. I 100% think he's the greatest rebounder of all time. Does he have as many as some other players? No, because he didn't play as long. And in comparison to those other rebounders that have more rebounds than he does, not only did they play longer, they're fucking bigger. So for him to do what he did at his size, I consider it more impressive. And he was an offensive rebounder. And a lot of those guys, like LeBron passing Rodman in rebounds, you didn't pass him in fucking offensive rebounds. You'd have to play another 10, 15 years to do that. Lynetta said, just think about it. When Draymond Donkey Green retires, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Should Draymond Green be in the Hall of Fame? No. Because you put Draymond Green on any other team without Steph Curry and without Steve Kerr protecting his dumbass. First of all, I think he'd be kicked off any other team. No other team would put up with his amount of bullshit except for Curry and Kerr. And he's just not going to look as good without all of that help around him to get those W's. I think he'd be mediocre at best. And then he likes to act like he's such a fucking tough guy, but you drop him in the 80s or 90s? Come on. He's coming off the bench at best. He could be Rodman's backup if Rodman gets hurt. Joel also said Draymond Green is the fake copycat of Dennis Rodman. He is. He couldn't carry Rodman's jockstrap. Rodman would whip his ass probably today. Rodman's old ass would probably kick Draymond Green's ass today. JXY said, and Charles Oakley would punk Draymond. He absolutely would. That's the thing. Charles Oakley was not a fantastic player, but he was a great bodyguard for Jordan. And if Draymond came at him, come on. I'm taking Charles Oakley every day. Joel also said Draymond Green is now a LeBron James stan. He is. And there are so many reasons that I cannot respect the Golden State Warriors. I do think that Steph Curry is a great player. If there was a best player of this era, I think it has to be Steph Curry. Of course, I do think it does go against him that 3 of his rings are against LeBron. Well, almost everybody got rings from LeBron, so it's obviously not that fucking hard. Steve Kerr, who I used to love when he played for the Bulls, I used to have, and I say used to because I don't have it anymore. I used to have an autographed Kerr jersey. I did not want it anymore. So I sold it and got rid of it. Kerr disgusts me now. All with his, they need to lower the games from 82 games a season to 72. Fuck you. The fact that he tolerates and is complacent to all of Draymond Green's behavior, fuck you. You're not a coach. You're barely a coach. You take Kerr off of the Warriors and put him with another team, they're not a winning team anymore. Lynetta said, I think Steph would have more rings than LeBron if not for Draymond. I agree. I think he would. There's a part of me that wants AI to get so good that it can make incredibly accurate predictions about all this would have, could have, should have shit. And I would like to see how all of that played out. If I could just punch in all the information and say, all right, Golden State Warriors without Draymond Green, replace him with, player X. How do they do now? Solomon Trump said Kerr is going to fall off when Steph retires. I think he will get fired. I mean, when did the Warriors win their last championship? Was it 22, 23? It's been a while. JXY said that's why Steph just can't be the greatest point guard ever. Magic would have told Draymond to chill or he had to go. Steph's leadership is not verbal like Magic or MJ. They should really mean something in all time. I completely agree. I don't even have him as a top 10 point guard all time. And it's not to disrespect him, but in an era of positionless basketball, like he certainly plays point guard sometimes. He is the orchestrator of that offense. I don't know. He's just not very point guard to me. Not in the way that Magic was, not in the way that Stockton was, not in the way that even Isaiah Thomas was. I don't think he fits that metric, so I have a hard time measuring him against those guys. James Bond said he's more of a shooting guard. 100%. He is more of a shooting guard. Solomon Trump, they said they won in 2022, and Steph isn't a true point guard. He's not. He's more of a hybrid point guard, and I don't know. I mean, I don't even think it's just me, but this positionless open space league, I can't. In all honesty, I can't credit the modern players with anything because they're not playing the same game. Like Kobe said, it's accidental basketball. I don't applaud accidental basketball. I don't praise accidental basketball. I don't care about accidental basketball. Is he a great shooter? Absolutely. Christos, thank you very much. It was a good birthday, and it feels pretty solid to hit that milestone. I'm pretty happy about it. Some Trump says positionless basketball allows players to stat pad. It 100% does. Again, I want to be able to take all of these great scorers and great shooters of the modern era and put them back when big men played big men, when centers played centers, when power forwards played power forward. How good are you going to be? Because I don't think they're going to be great. They can't beat Jordan in an era with less defense and positionless players. How in the hell are you going to beat him in real basketball officiated properly? You can't. Period. You can't do it. And if they're so gung-ho about being bigger, stronger, faster, this is the player and power era. Make them do it. Insist. Threaten to strike if they don't bring back 80s and 90s rules basketball and 80s and 90s officiating. They will never, ever do that because it will 100% show them up and that they are not on the same level. But if they're so confident about it, I mean, Wimby, you need to be the orchestrator for it. You said the players today are so good that it makes it look like they're not playing defense. Put your money where your mouth is. Prove it. But you won't. Because you're too soft. There's no fucking way that you'd be able to play 82 games back then because you can't play 82 games now. JXY said, right? It's hard to give credit to these players when the league allow them to stat pad flop and completely ruin the defense from the game. A player dropping 30 with hand checking was way more harder. It was. You know, it's interesting because I had taken such a break from the NBA. I did not know that they had added the 3-second rule. I also did not know that they had removed hand checking. I didn't learn that until the second week I started watching basketball again because I hadn't watched it in 20 plus years. So when I finally learned that information, I was like, oh, these guys just suck then. If you can't hand check and there's a 3-second rule in the paint, what's your fucking problem? Why isn't everyone dropping 50 a night? Because what the hell's stopping you? The best part of hand checking is as a defender, you could dictate the movement of the offense. You could shut them down. You could lead them. You could guide them, or you could fucking stop them. So if that's not there, what's the problem? I mean, people were, blowing up because James Harden scored 30 points in a season or 32 points or whatever the fuck it was in the season. How was that the first time that happened? How was that even a big deal? Joel also said the man to blame for the NBA fallout is Adam Silver. I hate that man. I agree. I completely agree. He has removed competition from the NBA. And I really hope that McZuggins, or now Pineapple Midrange, drops his video soon because he has a lot of information proving players are incentivized and make more money not playing and load managing. And I really want him to drop that information because I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't understand a lot about it, but from listening to him talk about it, it sounds like it's pretty damning information. And I would be incredibly curious to learn more about that. Solomon Trump asked, what do you think expansion will do to the league? So I am in Seattle, and I know that the NBA voted and that the expansion should go through. I do not think Seattle is going to get a team because Seattle itself has started implementing all of these new taxes. So there's going to be a 10% income tax on all of its residents. Owning an NBA team costs billions of dollars. 10% of billions of dollars is a lot of fucking money. And I just can't imagine anyone in this area ponying up. I just can't see it happening. It would have to be a conglomerate that does it. It would have to be a huge corporation that does it. And I don't necessarily know if I want to see that. I hope it happens. My other fear with expansion is when they expanded in the late 80s and mid 90s, there was so much talent in the league. There were fantastic players riding the bench. it's incredibly difficult. I'm not saying that there aren't quality players on the bench. I mean, even the Lakers have Dalton Connect, who basically just rides the bench, and I think he's a quality player. I think if they swapped out Dalton Connect with LeBron, they're probably going to win more games. But I'm afraid it might further dilute the talent pool. I mean, I guarantee Vegas is going to get a game within that city and all of the money that's flowing through it. They're 100% going to get a team. I believe they may have to find another city outside of Seattle unless somebody decides to step up. I just can't see it, giving the cost of living in Seattle, the infrastructure in Seattle, the bureaucracy in Seattle. I want it to happen. I absolutely want the Sonics back. I'm not convinced it's going to happen. JXY said expansion will do nothing if they don't change the rules and officiating. I agree. It'll just be more teams that are either getting an egregious amount of free throws. The new players on the new expansion teams will just learn to foul bait and become free throw merchants. The rules need to be consistent, by the book. That's one of my biggest problems with the NBA today. It's not by the book. If you go on to NBA.com and you look up any of the rules, the only rules that have changed from the 80s and 90s is they added the 3-second rule and they removed hand checking. Every other rule is exactly the same and has not changed in any way. The only thing that's changed is the way they officiate it on the court. If that doesn't change, there's no point in anything else changing because they will just continue to do the same thing. Players will be, certain players will be able to do whatever the hell they want. Some players will be penalized more than others. Until the officiating gets sorted out, the NBA will continue to be a joke. Regardless of players, regardless of owners, regardless of commissioner, it will continue to be a joke. Richard Adams said Jordan would dunk on Draymond Green every game they played against one another, every game. And he would humiliate him. Like that would be his objective. Because Draymond would run his mouth like he always does. Jordan would take it personal and he would make a fucking example out of him. He'd be like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to humiliate you. Now, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win. I'm going to fucking crush you and make you look stupid. And that's the Jordan that I want back. The one that took shit personal. I genuinely think one thing that the NBA needs, excuse me, to bring back even a modicum of its former glory is a player that needs to be better than Jordan. I mean, he may never be, but if he needs, in his soul, needs to be better than Jordan, which means he needs to do it under the same standards. He needs to beat the quality of teams. He needs to do it at such a high level. He needs to dominate. If there's no player like that, it's never going to fucking happen. The NBA will continue to stay stagnant and boring and uncompetitive It takes a player, one player. That's the thing that's fucking crazy to me. One player can change the entire attitude and atmosphere of the entire league. Because that's what Jordan did. Excuse me. Bird and Magic saved the league and kept it from dying. And Jordan took it global because he refused to be anything but the absolute best. And he never thought to himself, I want to be as good as Bird and Magic. He's like, I want to beat those guys. Solomon Trump said, Ant Edwards is the closest. I kind of have to disagree with you there. And the only reason why I say that is because he's soft as fuck too. Anytime he lost me when after he lost in the playoffs in the first round, and they asked him how he felt about it, and he said, oh, I feel fine. I don't know why people would think I feel hurt. I wanted to punch him right in the face when he said that. I was like, what the fuck do you mean you don't feel hurt? You should be pissed off. And then I think he was talking about something, he didn't expect his team to get as far in the playoffs, so he didn't work as hard. That's like LeBron saying activate playoff mode. That doesn't exist. You're either trying your best at all times or you're not trying. Maybe. And it's a big maybe. He is still relatively young. I was a young jackass when I was young. I certainly wasn't the man that I am today. So maybe with age, maybe with experience, maybe with more loss, he'll build that. But I honestly believe that that's one of those things that you either have or you don't. Jordan had it. Kobe had it. I keep trying to think of another player that's had it since Kobe. I can't think of one. Also, I have to be honest, when Ant was talking about the 80s and 90s and he said that Jordan was the only one with talent, I also wanted to slap him in the face. Like, you're just proving you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you think Jordan was the only one with talent, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the game that you quote unquote love. And I question how much you love it. Solomon Trump said young Giannis seemed like he was on the Kobe path. I agree. But that motherfucker has not changed his game in a decade. He's not going to win another ring. Like, I absolutely credit him with sticking with the Bucks. I do. I give him credit for that because he easily could have went to Cleveland with whatever super team they're trying to build there. He could have team hopped to another team. I respect him for staying with the Bucks, especially because with the exception of what Damian Lillard, they haven't really done a whole lot for him there. But I don't think he's the guy. I think he's proven. JXY said, did you just say LaMelo Ball, the same player who hasn't had a playoff appearance, the same player that doesn't play any type of defense? Him? For a split second, I thought you were asking me that. And I was like, I did not say LaMelo fucking Ball. But then I realized you weren't talking to me. Joe also said, hell no, there was so much talent when Michael was playing so much. There was every team. Now, I'll be honest, in the modern era, I don't follow any teams because I don't really care. Even my Bulls, I I just don't care. But back then, there were great players on every single team. There wasn't an exception. Even dog shit teams like the New Jersey Nets had great players. The Hornets had great players. They were everywhere. Joseph said Jason Kidd. Absolutely. Jason Kidd was fantastic. I admit I still have a lack of knowledge, excuse me, about the NBA from 2000 to 2020. A 20-year period. I've gone back and I've done research. And I've watched games and I've, studied some players. But I don't know all the players. There's great players that when people mention their name, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is. And that's on me. But also, like, they didn't demand attention the way that players in the 80s and 90s did. Joel also said Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson, John Stockton, Mark Price, so many more. The list just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's why they had to expand. There was so much fucking talent. And that's why I think it's laughable when people now say that the expansion watered down the talent pool and that's why Jordan won. I'm like, well, that just proves to me that you never watched 80s and 90s basketball. JXY said when MJ played, teams had actual identities and positions were defined. The Knicks were considered a tough, gritty team with a fan base that supported them and expected effort every night. Even my Lakers, every team, every single team had its own identity. Maybe some of them, were similar, but they still played it in a different way. JXY said, coach is not even respected like back in the day. I don't even understand what the hell is the point of coaches in the modern era. They're not allowed to criticize their players. They're certainly not allowed to punish or reprimand them in any way. How pivotal they are in the team's success or failure is questionable to me. And I'm not even saying that there aren't quality coaches in this era. They've basically just been neutered. They don't have the authority, the power, or the respect of the player base, of the fans, of the league, and of the media to make any meaningful change. Solomon Trump said the NBA had some solid teams in the early 2010s. I absolutely agree. From what I've seen, that is 100% true. I would say up until around 2010, there was still quality basketball being played, and it actually, I didn't know that's what was going to happen. So when I stopped watching in 99, I could have gotten another 10, 12 years out of the NBA and still thoroughly enjoyed it. And I didn't. And it does, it pisses me off. I can't forgive myself because I came back in 2020, which may have been the absolute worst time to come back. The only reason why I decided to, I didn't really have any desire to watch the NBA again, if I'm completely honest. But COVID happened. I was in lockdown and didn't have shit else to do. And I had already watched a lot of like all the TV shows and movies. I was like, fuck, I need something that, is on consistently that's new. So I was like, oh fuck. I mean, I guess I'll watch the NBA again. I've heard some good things about it. I wish I could remember who said those good things about it so I could go back and punch him in the face because I was duped. Joe also said, I remember when JJ Redick said that the 80s and 90s were nothing but plumbers and firemen that were playing that pissed me the hell off. I agree. I actually made a video about that fairly recently. And nobody seemed to watch it because it didn't have LeBron in the title. And that certainly seems to be the videos that garner the most attention. I think it's disgraceful that he said that. What I think is funny now, because he did make that comment some time ago after being the coach for the Lakers the past few years. I wish somebody would ask him that question now. Be like, I bet you'd be happy to get some of those plumbers and firefighters. Because he also said, since he's been the coach for the Lakers, not everybody's like Kobe. No shit. No one is like Kobe. You're just realizing this now after he's dead? Absolutely ridiculous. And again, no consequences for making that comment. No pushback, no reprimand, no how fucking dare you. Nothing. Nobody cared. RP, what's going on? Thanks for checking in. RP says, I think the NBA isn't about competition. I think they don't have a product for actual fans. It's for gambling and TV rights. Most of these people, like LeBron fans, they don't watch full games. They don't. And even when the fucking commissioner said, oh, it's basically just a league of highlights, why didn't you say that with disgust in your voice? Why didn't you say that and say, it's a game of highlights because I fucked up? Because I allowed players and myself to ruin the game and ruin the league. This is my fault. If you are the commissioner of a sport and you say with a straight face, this is a game of highlights, you have failed. You have done a piss poor job at your job, and you shouldn't be allowed to have that job anymore. RB said TRC, exactly. He showed his hand. They know it's for highlights. That's why these guys believe LeBron is great. It's what the highlights in ESPN of paid media tells them. It's true. Because anybody who watches a full game, which I do occasionally try to do, not even necessarily for myself, just so I can be vaguely aware of the place that the league is in for this channel. So sometimes I punish myself and make myself watch a full game. And it is hard to do because without the quote unquote highlights, which to me are just uncontested dunks, layups, and three-point shots, not very highlighting. There's nothing to watch. It's people just chucking up threes and missing an egregious fucking amount of them, taking free throw shots and missing an egregious amount of them, and weak ass dunks, weak ass uncontested dunks. I'm sorry. Like, so I just posted a post on my channel a few days ago of Mutombo being dunked on by Jordan with the caption that said, "Block this, bitch." There are no dunks like that anymore. Big men aren't in the fucking paint contesting. The fact that Rudy Gobert has won Defensive Player of the Year 4 times shows you what a fucking joke the defense and big men are in this league. Jill also says LeBron James destroyed the dunk contest by completely fucking avoiding it, by being way too chicken shit to even participate, because he knows damn well he would get embarrassed and he would have nobody to blame but himself. He wouldn't have a scapegoat. He wouldn't be able to say, "Oh, my team did this," or "My team did that," or "Oh, the refs." No, you would just fucking fail and have to eat it. Jordan didn't win every dunk contest he entered. He only won 2. But I think he competed in 5 or 6. He didn't win everyone. He didn't have to win everyone. He competed. And sometimes he got blown out. Not humiliated. But when he was going up against Neek, man, that was a battle. And some of them he just lost. Nothing wrong with that. Joe also said, "I saw his dunking contest when LeBron entered the league, and let me tell you, he was terrible. It was laughable, so embarrassing." He only has that one mediocre tomahawk dunk, which I cannot believe that his fanboys try to glorify into something incredible. I've always thought it this way. If Vince Carter, Michael Jordan, or Dominique Wilkins ever did that tomahawk dunk, even the best LeBron ever did it in a dunk contest, they'd have got fucking laughed at. Without question. Especially in the 80s and 90s. If they brought that tomahawk dunk out, it's absolutely ridiculous. I would rather watch Bird dunk than watch LeBron dunk. I just don't get it. Oh, this league actually hurts my brain. I don't know how you have sports without competitors. I don't even understand how that's possible. I don't know how you have sport without officiating. It doesn't make any sense. RP says he has no handle, no post game, no three, no free throw, but they call him the greatest. The GOAT can't even hit free throws. Okay. It's true. Absolutely true. I think it's funny that they'll use the excuse of big men can't shoot free throws. And I was like, okay, so he's often compared against Larry Bird. Let's compare him against Larry Bird. Larry Bird shot 88% from the free throw for his career. LeBron shoots around 73, 74% for his career. That's more than 15% better. When you're talking about, excuse me, when you're talking about shooting free throws, 15% is the difference between winning or losing fucking games. B-Baller Show, what's going on? Thank you for chiming in. Another thing that that makes me laugh about LeBron, RP said he has no handles. He really doesn't. So he is left-handed, but on the basketball court, he does the majority of things right-handed. And I don't know how a dominant left-handed player, whenever he dribbles with his left, it is almost a guaranteed turnover. And especially if he tries to dribble between the legs, behind the back, he's going to turn the ball over. When I said to a fanboy once, B-Baller said, do you think LeBron knows left from right? I don't think he does. I really don't. I think if you gave him the Full Metal Jacket test where he slaps you in the face on each side and asks you which is left and which is right, I think he's going to fail. It is absolutely sad. So he's left-hand dominant. If he's not on the basketball court, he does everything with his left hand. As soon as he gets onto the court, I don't know why, but he shoots with his right hand. He dribbles with his right hand. He probably does other things with his right hand. But if he tries to do anything left, it's terrible. Like, I don't know. I mean, I have to imagine that most of you guys saw that video of him shooting in China and missing, I don't know, 11 straight baskets. A few of those were with his left hand. So he's shooting with, he can't make an excuse either way. You shot with your right hand, which is your dominant hand while playing. You shot with your left hand, which is your dominant hand when you're not playing. You still couldn't make a single fucking basket. JXY said the fact he's allowed to dribble the ball so high with nobody trying to steal the ball shows you how weak the game is. He wouldn't make it in the 90s, let alone the 80s. Without question. First of all, excuse me, if the officiating was actually called correctly, he would have double the amount of turnovers that he has, because they're not calling him for travels and carries, which would be turnovers, which means the majority of his turnovers are from bad passes or from terrible dribbling and him just giving the ball to the other team. If they called him on carries and travels, it'd be 10 times worse. It doesn't make any sense. I've really started trying to watch a lot of 50s and 60s basketball and some early 70s basketball with, you know, Bob Cousy, Oscar Robinson, Jerry West, Bill Russell. I've been trying to expand my knowledge of that era. And it's funny because when you watch them dribble back then, their hand had to be on the top of the ball at all times. If they dribbled the side of the ball, that's a carry. They turn the ball over. So when you're watching it, especially for a while at first, it looks awkward it looks like they don't know how to dribble. But the reality is they knew how to dribble. They weren't allowed to dribble off the side of the ball. If their hand wasn't on the top of the ball, it was a traveler carry. Zay, what's up? I appreciate it, man. I was going to say it felt good to hit 400. It was a good birthday. I don't really have anything to complain about at all. Solomon Trump said LeBron should have went to college to get coached. Absolutely. He needed to have fundamentals beat into him. But he didn't, and it still shows. 23 years into his career, and he still has zero fundamentals. It's absolutely ridiculous. So B-Baller Show said, yep, John Starks recently talked about the refs not calling so many things like travel, etc. Players today suck at fundamentals. They need to protect them to protect the league. That's exactly what it is. The officiating has gotten so terrible because they can't do the basic fundamentals of the sport that they're paid millions of dollars to do. They were talking about they have to let him get away, or all the players, they have to let them get away with all of these things, because if they didn't, they'd never actually be able to play fucking basketball because there'd constantly be stoppages. So they've just gotten to the point that they have to let all of this stuff slide. So B-Baller Show said refs are instructed to allow it. I genuinely believe that's why they started wearing those fucking headsets. It's because they knew we need to be all on the same page. So when there's a ref with something egregious happening right in front of them, you know there's somebody in their ear saying, yeah, don't call that. Just pretend that you didn't see that. They literally wouldn't be able to have more than 5 minutes of consistent play if they called the game by the actual rule book. How is that a sport? How is that a game when you can't even follow the rules? Because if you follow the rules, it ruins the game. Excuse me. I have to apologize for this cough, guys. It just will not go away. And I'm not sick in any way. It's just a stupid dry cough that came out of nowhere. So 93 Zay said, I told you about them headsets. I wasn't a fan of it when they announced it. No. There's no way to be a fan of it. You know, there's a part of me that thinks Vegas is on those headsets too. That each different ref has somebody else that's, you know, talking to them and letting them know what they can and cannot do. B-Baller says, your birthday today, or am I mistaken? My birthday was actually yesterday. I say I just turned 50. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it felt good. I was going to say, I actually like being 50. I'm sure once I'm into my 50s, my body will be pissed off and I won't be terribly happy about it. Oh, nice. B-Roll said, happy belated birthday, brother. I'm about to turn 46 in April. I like it, man. I was going to say, I don't know about you. I've never dreaded getting old or was hesitant to get old. I mean, I felt like I was 40 when I was 5. I just always had that mindset. I like it. I was going to say, I exercise regularly to try to keep myself in shape. I try to control my diet as much as possible while still being able to enjoy life. Uh, being mentally and physically handicapped at 50 certainly has its challenges, but fuck it, I'm up for it. If I've been able to do it this far, I'm not going to give up now. Well, you guys should do streams for your birthdays. I was going to say I'd love to hop it on and, support you guys. I really appreciate you guys doing this. It's amazing that it'll sound bad, but when I started this channel, there was a part of me that thought nobody's going to want to listen to this shit. What the hell do I have to say? I haven't watched the NBA in 20 years. What the hell do I know? But, it's turned out that people apparently appreciate my takes, my perspectives, even though I am a foul-mouthed sailor in almost every one of my videos. They don't seem to mind that either. B-Baller Show said, love the content, man. You need to grow. You break things down well. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. I really do. That actually means a lot to me. I have watched your content for a very long time. You are one of the first channels that I came across. Uncommon, Sports and Fitness Rants, Angry Old Hoops. All of you have guided me towards this path of creating a channel. And I am incredibly grateful for it. It's weird that sometimes you don't realize that you've needed to do something until you start doing it. That's why I always like to try a bunch of new things. I was going to say, I started playing drums a few years ago. It's one of those things I didn't realize I needed it until I started doing it. And now it's something I do all the time. Started painting a few years ago. Didn't realize that was something I needed. So now I do it all the time. Got to expand yourself. It's also, especially as you get older, it's just good to learn new skills. It challenges your brain. It challenges your perceptions. It increases your knowledge, your understanding. It's important to constantly try to improve yourself. If you go, B-Baller Show, put an email as contact your channel. I'd like to reach out. My email address is on my channel. But here. It's pretty easy. It is just therealsiberius@gmail.com. But it is on my channel under more info. So please, absolutely feel free to reach out if you ever are down to do a collaboration or hop on a live or anything. Let me know. I'm always game. I have been incredibly grateful for people's inclusion, like people inviting me to collaborate with them, inviting me onto their lives. It feels good. I mean, I've never strived to seek validation, but I'm not going to lie, it feels good to be validated, to know that it isn't just a fluke, to realize and, be encouraged. Your opinions have merit, your stances on life have value. King Speech, what's going on? Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. I realize I said at the beginning of this stream, uh, you kind of get out of YouTube what you put into it. And I wasn't putting a lot into it for a while. I was just kind of being lazy about it. And I was testing the waters for too long and just trying to, well, I was just half assing it, if I'm completely honest. And I've decided if I'm going to do this, I need to fucking do it right. I need to do it to the best of my ability as I try to do everything in my life. And yeah, it's crazy that the more effort that I've been putting in, the more I have been getting out of it. I feel, I mean, I have aspirations that I would like to reach here. I feel like all of the channels that I watch that I respect and value, many of them have thousands and thousands of subscribers. And there's still a part of me that has self doubt thinking I could never achieve that. Um, but fuck it, I'm going to try. I was going to say, I mean, worst thing that can happen is I fail. And you know what? If you gave it your best effort and you fail, that's not a bad thing. It's something you can learn from. So fuck it, I'm going to try to do it. I was going to say, people seem to appreciate what I do. Also, King Speech, certainly while you're here, if if you start doing those lives again, man, and you want me to do a segment, I'm more than happy to. I was going to say I have the utmost respect for you and your channel, and I would feel honored to be a part of it. See, I appreciate that, man. Your guys' support is crazy. It's funny. I was because I'll talk shit to anybody. I don't care. So I was talking shit to my family because I don't even think a lot of them watch my channel, and that's fine. If especially if you don't care about basketball, what the hell are you going to get out of it? Like I do some life videos, but for the most part, it's basketball. And if you don't care about basketball, I don't know, I'm not going to watch a channel about flower arranging if I'm not into flower arranging. So like I'm not going to begrudge people for not watching my content. If it's not for you, it's not for you. King's Pete said, yeah, by next week, I should be back in the swing. I got all ideas, just no time to execute. Yeah, man, that is, I, I don't have that burden. Ever since my accident, I have not been able to work or find a job, and I have nothing but free time. Thankfully, I'm in a position where I don't really have to worry about a lot. I would still like to find work. It would certainly be nice to make more money, but I don't have to worry about a lot at the moment. So I have a lot of free time, which is kind of why I jumped on YouTube and decided to make my best of it. B-Baller Show said, what's wrong with flower arranging? There's absolutely nothing wrong with flower arranging. And I'm not going to lie. If I could take a class on it that didn't cost money, I would do it. I am a huge proprietor of learning knowledge and gaining skills because even if the skill doesn't directly translate to benefiting you, it will benefit you in some way. I genuinely believe that knowledge is power. And even if you don't use that knowledge every single day, it has value. And I would guarantee that there are philosophies or principles or practices in flower arranging that could benefit my life. King Speech Road said, life be lifing. It sure as fuck does. Sometimes a little too much. B-Baller Show, just wanted to let you know I got your email. I was going to say I don't want to read it while I'm on because I am incapable of doing two things at the same time now. But I did get it. I will read it. I will get back to you. But I have to say, man, I did not expect it. This is something that I just started doing as a distraction, a way to have some form of structure in my life when I didn't have a job, something to be upholden and accountable to. What has happened that I did not expect is I've kind of fallen in love with it now. I'm not just doing it for the game, I'm doing it for the love of the game. And that wasn't King Speed said, I'm embracing the Braun hater aspect of my channel. His fan base needs to be stopped expeditiously. 100%. And I will not stop doing LeBron hate on my channel. I just won't do it. Especially because, so this is the funny thing about it. Even at 400 subs, I have an inordinate amount of fanboys that just come into my comment section. You'd never know because I take a screenshot of their idiocy and then I delete the comment. They do not get a voice on my channel. I will not allow that to happen. And then I just make note of it in my notes for fanboy said what, and then I'm just going to tear them down. And because they're too stupid to not comment, I'll have never-ending content against their stupidity, their false king stupidity. It's just never going to stop. B-Baller Show said, hey, it's not hate for LeBron. We just checking the facts and spreading truth. Idiots like to think truth is hate and they can't deal with truth. That is 100% true. And I actually said that in my last Fanboy Said What video. I don't make videos about LeBron. I make the videos disputing the utter nonsense that the media says about LeBron, that he says about himself, that his fanboys say about him. I don't make videos about him. I make videos refuting information or stopping the lies and the narratives, as Sports and Fitness Rants always says. I can't let it go unchecked. If I do, that's just me being complacent to that, and I can't do that. I can't let it slide. Because there are people that do change. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity. If you're not, you can actually find videos that explain it in just a few minutes. But the basic summation of it is stupidity is more dangerous than evil because evil can be stopped with force. Stupidity can't be stopped with anything. The individual can only free themselves. And if you don't want to free yourself, you can't be corrected with intelligence. You can't be corrected with logic or reason. You can give them all the facts in the world to prove to them that they're wrong. Only stupidity can stop itself. However, if you indoctrinate them with evidence, with fact, with reason, with logic, it does happen that people decide to wake up. They choose of their own free will after being saturated with genuine information. They do. They have an awakening. where they finally realize the error of their ways. You know, whatever delusion they were under from drinking the Kool-Aid disappears. And that's what I hope for. So Richard said that's why you don't change their mind, you let them change their mind. 100%. The one way that I differ from a lot of other channels that I see, excuse me, they just don't get a voice on my channel. You can hear everything that I have to say. You can read other people's comments. You do not get to participate. Because I don't want to hear your idiocy. I said it on one of my videos. Arguing with a fanboy is like trying to stab somebody with a brick. It's pointless. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. I'm not going to argue with you. Hear my words. Maybe they'll sink in. If they don't, fuck it. Go on with your delusion. I don't care. I'm not here to save people. I'm here to offer perspective, point of view, hopefully some insight, maybe some inspiration. Beyond that, it's on you. It's your life. You need to live it. You need to put in your own effort. I do not, Kundi, I don't know. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Success comes before work, only in the dictionary, nowhere else. That is fucking true. King Speech said, send him my way. Man, I wish I could because I love listening to you. First of all, I don't know how you have that level of patience and tolerance for stupidity. Like, you deserve a fucking medal for your ability to just be hammered with that nonsense for hours. I would watch a significant portion of some of your lives with some of those fools on there. I can't do it, man. Oh, I've always given you a huge amount of credit in my mind for being able to tolerate that because I just can't do it. I just can't. Kinkby said they won't learn a thing, but those who watch will. And that's exactly it. I will certainly offer whatever insights or information that I have, and I hope people will take something away from it. I genuinely hope that they will. But the reality is they probably won't. But it's there. And you know, it's on demand available. You can access it whenever you want. If you heard a video once and you thought it was stupid and you decide you want to go back to it because some part of it clung into your brain, do it. That's the beauty of it. You can go to any of our channels and watch any of the content that we've ever made. And I wish people would, because then maybe they would wake the hell up and realize you're a fan of delusion. You're not a fan of greatness. There's actually a video that I will probably be putting out in the next few days. And it's about how fanboys call us haters. But first of all, that's a gross misrepresentation of what hate is. Not what they're calling it, but what it is. And the thing that they're missing is that we love the game. We respect players, we appreciate players, but we love the game. They don't love the game. They don't even love players. They love a player. And I still can't figure out fucking why. But first of all, anytime anybody uses the word hater, you're immediately dismissed, and I can't take anything else that you say seriously. But what they're doing is stealing the power of the word hate. They're dismissing it. Hate is powerful. And to throw it around like that, to dismiss what people who have actually experienced hate have, is disgusting. I've experienced hate in my life. I am Mexican and Native American. Not many times in my life, because I am what I consider racially ambiguous, meaning you can't tell what the fuck I am by looking at my face. But I am Hispanic and Native American majority. And I've heard some egregious things in my life, and I've had some hateful shit said to me. So when somebody says, you're a hater because I don't like your fucking basketball player, I can't talk to you. You're proving to me you've never experienced hate in your life. Because if you had, you wouldn't be dismissing it in such a trivial way. Hate needs to be fought. It needs to be triumphed over. It doesn't need to be diminished and trivialized by your idiocy. That I cannot abide. RP said hater is a defense mechanism. It's the default answer to a different opinion, and that the damn laugh emoji instead of having another discussion. Oh my God, that's so true. I believe that is number 1 and number 10 on my LeBron fanboy excuse checklist. Hater is the default go-to. If they don't have a unique, well, I mean, they just don't. They don't have a unique opinion or perspective. And they certainly lack the intellectual ability to accurately articulate anything, let alone, and then the fucking crying emoji. My God. They love to use it as a gotcha, as in, haha, look, I made you look stupid. They use it as that. They've never accomplished that I've ever known. I've never seen one time where I was like, oh, wow, they did get that person. Nope. It's never happened once. It's ridiculous. JXY said, hate is a lazy cop out. It helps them deflect and avoid the facts while simultaneously living in delusion. It's true. I just wish that people could B-Ball shows. It's funny to me when they post a comment and say, your take is wrong and BS, and don't say why or give a counter argument because they don't have one. That's the biggest thing. Because I think number 2 on my checklist is you don't know basketball. Well, educate me then, motherfucker. You have the same platform available to you that I have. I'm just using it better. I'm articulating my point better. I'm making an argument, typically based off of actual information that I saw, not that I watched, that I saw in real time, and you can't refute it. Period. So you just have to run down the checklist of you don't know basketball, you're a hater, you don't know what you're talking about. Avoiding the question, that's another fucking huge one, is They'll make a comment. I will reply to that comment, and then it's crickets. Absolutely nothing afterward. Gelosa said the reason why they say we're wrong is because they don't know what is right or that we're right. They don't. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. While I did not watch the NBA for that extended period of time, from when I did watch, that's longer than most of these assholes have been alive. And you're going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about? I really, really wish Sports and Fitness Rant says it all the time. And so I've started saying it all the time too, because I wish it was the only solution. I wish there wasn't a comment section. I wish there was a video response section. The only way that you could respond to my video is by making a video. And like, I don't show my face in my video. It's not because like that illustrated image, I had thought about this. I'm going to post on my channel later today this illustrated image next to the actual image that it is based off of. They're almost identical, except one is real and one is an illustration. I'm not afraid of showing my face. I think it was the second video that I ever posted on this channel. Not only did I show my face, I showed my face with a third of my fucking skull missing. That is the worst I've ever looked in my entire life. And I posted it online for people to see. I'm not afraid of people seeing my face. I don't enjoy being on camera, especially with all the fucking scars on my head. Because if somebody says something about it, if you guys think I'm an unhinged motherfucker now, that's all it would take. I would come unglued and I'm either getting banned from YouTube for life or I'm going to prison. Those are the only two options. So I just avoid it entirely by not being on camera. But I wish they didn't have a choice. I wish you had to have an actual picture of yourself as your avatar on YouTube. If you want to be on YouTube, it has to be a real picture of you. Because I guarantee people would have a lot less to say. They would have a lot less bravery, a lot less false confidence, a lot less bravado if they had to be the real them. Audrey said it's crazy how some of us watch Michael Jordan, watch LeBron his whole career, and more than most of us who call themselves fans, but we are old haters. I can't watch the violations and ridiculous rules. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with I'm not a fan of basketball. I'm not a fan of this, which isn't basketball. This is a sick joke masquerading as basketball. I'll watch real basketball all day. I won't get tired of it. Some days that's what I do just because I'm bored. I go to channel 23, I queue up 3 games, and I just have it on in the background as I'm going about my day just because I enjoy it. I can watch a game that I've seen 10 times, that I have seen it so many times, I almost know what's going to happen before it happens, and I already know the outcome, and I enjoy it more than I enjoy the finals of the modern era. That shouldn't be a thing. JXY says, this era reminds me of WWF. It does. It's just not quite as entertaining. It feels just as staged at this point. Like the refs, they don't even, it doesn't even feel like they're trying to hide it anymore. They'll just blatantly in your face be like, okay, well, the Lakers are down. We're going to give them 14 free throws in the fourth quarter. So hopefully they can pull this out. And sometimes they still don't. They still don't win the game, even with the egregious free throw discrepancy. RP says TRC, when me and my brothers and friends were young, we watched all the teams, then left and played ball at the park. We loved the sport. These guys don't love basketball. They don't. They can't even comprehend the love that we have for the game. They don't get it because they've never felt that way about anything. That's another thing that bothers me and that I plan on addressing in the video that I'm putting out soon. They call us haters, but they don't know what love is of any kind. They don't understand love of people. They don't understand love of things. I don't think they're capable of love anymore. They've become so detached from emotion and human connection because of their fucking phones and their fucking screens. I don't know if they know how. I have young Gen Z relatives and I know their friends and I see them interacting and them talking. They don't have a fucking passion for anything. They can't even say, oh, I love video games. No, you don't. You love a game and you play it poorly. Richard, what's up? He says, I've been thinking why I did never want to be paid to do what I love or is my passion. You know, that's a double-edged sword. Because sometimes if you start getting paid for your passion, now it feels like work. But then they also say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I think both things can be true and simultaneously. One of my loves is building computers. I absolutely fucking love it. Just buying all of the components and creating something out of those parts. And I try to create things of beauty. When I look at my computer, which is just to the right of me, it doesn't look like a computer to me. It's a fucking work of art. I mean, it does look like a computer, but it's not just a boring, like beige box like in the fucking 90s. It is a piece of art that I created. I chose the pieces. I put them together. I made it work beautifully. And I have so many things in my life that I'm passionate about, that I love to do. It would be great if at some point I could get paid to do YouTube. That would be fantastic because I have genuinely found a love for it. And I'm trying to treat it like a job. So if it started to feel like a job, well, I already put that pressure on myself. So it's fine. JXY. So what pisses me off, this so-called coach's challenge. Back in the day, it wasn't a challenge. If the ref didn't call it, man up. There's so many games and finals that could have been determined by a challenge. I agree. Back then, the call was the call. And that's just the way that it was. And you just had to accept it. And because there was sportsmanship back then and people weren't getting in the ref's face and yelling and screaming and certainly not fucking manhandling them, you just took it for what it was. And then you didn't even bitch about it in the post-game press conference. And if somebody asked you about it, which they did occasionally do, say, oh, well, it looked like Reggie pushed off of you. How'd you feel about that? It's the game. That's how I felt about it. Sometimes it gets called. Sometimes it doesn't. I've gotten away with it. They got away with it. It is what it is. We move on to the next game. Nothing can be what it is. Nothing is accepted as what it is. It's always, I have to push back. I have to get my way. I'm the victim. That is some shit I don't understand. Everyone wants to be a victim for everything. Even, this is what's crazy to me. Even in my life, I'm the one with the fucking disabilities, and I will have people try to play the victim for me. Somebody, because I have a handicap pass, because I am actually handicapped. I didn't fake it like some people do, and they'll almost give you a handicap pass for anything. But somebody was parked in a handicap pass that was not handicapped, or at least they didn't have a badge. And somebody was getting pissed off for me. I'm like, I'm not that crippled. I'll just walk from the parking spot into the store. It's not a big deal. Maybe if I was more crippled, I would have had more of a problem with it. But even then, that's just not my mindset. Stop being a fucking victim. I genuinely believe, and this is I think I even made a fucking video about it. Your adversity is as hard as you make it. You can have the most minor of adversity, but if you make a fucking a molehill into a mountain, your life's going to be pretty fucking hard. People just want to whine about everything. They want credit for doing the most pedestrian of activities. People need to man the fuck up. That's the best way that I can describe it. Men have been told that our entire lives from an incredibly young age. At 3 years old, I distinctly remember my dad telling me to man up, rub some dirt on it, walk it off. Is that always the most healthy way to handle things? Probably not. But you know what? It's good to have in your bank if you need it. RP says being a victim gives people an excuse. It protects them from criticism and any excuse of failure. I had a guy in a meeting raise his hand saying, I am autistic. Raise his hand smiling, saying, I am autistic diagnosed, proud. I don't understand that shit. That would be like me saying, oh, I'm proud to be crippled. I'm not. I am crippled. That's just the reality of my life. I'm not proud of it. I'm also not ashamed of it. Because I put in fucking work. I also, this is another thing that made me fucking laugh. So I was out in public. I refer to myself as crippled. The reason why I refer to myself as crippled, because if you look up crippled in the fucking dictionary, it says severely damaged or malfunctioning. That's what the fuck I am. Severely damaged and my brain is malfunctioning. That is a more apt definition of my condition than saying I am handicapped or I am disabled. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, you shouldn't say crippled. That's offensive." To who, motherfucker? I'm crippled. Who am I offending? I'm sorry, that kind of shit irritates the hell out of me. It's just like I'm Mexican and I've heard people get offended because they're called Latino or South American or Latinx. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. It's just a name. If I'm offended by that, it means I don't have enough problems in my life and I'm trying to manufacture them. I don't fucking care. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent there, but that kind of thing pisses me off. JXY said, just like you can't say the word retard or midget, I say both of those words. And I say them as my ex-wife was a special education teacher for 10 years. And then she became, I can't remember the exact acronym, behavior specialist, where she's still working with individuals with special needs. I'm well aware of what retarded people are. I'm not saying it to disparage them in any way. There's another word that I like to say that I'm not going to say because people are egregiously offended by it. And no, if you're thinking it's the N word, I don't use that word ever. It's not racially motivated in any way, shape, or form. I think intent means a lot. Your intention of the word. If you called someone who is mentally retarded a fucking retard, I'm probably going to be offended by that. If you call your friend who's being a dumb fuck a retard, I don't have any issue with that at all. I think people are too sensitive to that shit. Words are words, and they only have power if you give them power. Like I said, I am Mexican and Indian. I have had people call me spick. I've had people call me wetback. I'm sure that YouTube, if they hear me saying these words, might block this shit or ban me, but fuck them. I'm talking about myself. Those words don't mean anything to me because I'm neither of those things. Call me whatever you want. That's not what I am. It's not what I identify as. So it has zero power over me. Or if you call me crippled, disabled, differently abled, whatever other pussified word that you want to use, I don't care. I don't give words power over me. I don't. If you do, I feel sorry for you because now there's a word that has power over you. I don't believe in that. They're just words. Maybe I'm wrong. I am 50. Maybe I'm an old head and a hater. I can't even say that with a straight face. It just makes me want to fucking laugh. JXY said they never heard of if the shoe fits or sticks and stones just soft. Yeah. I grew up with the sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I've had both of those things break my bones. My dad, who is no longer with us, was a hard-nosed motherfucker, but he did me many solids in my life. But one of them was, and this is typical of most Mexican families, you will be getting your ass kicked verbally from the time you're like 3 years old. They will just be kicking your ass. It's just a constant roast. But the beauty part is, by the time I got to fucking kindergarten, especially, excuse me, elementary school, junior high, high school, there was nothing that anyone could say that could hurt my feelings. These dumb teenage punks are, calling me names, and I'm like, dude, I've been dealing with that since I was 3. You're going to need to step up your game big time if you're going to even want to get a reaction out of me, because that's just some weak ass play. John Freeman says, we're not old. I like vintage. I'll take vintage. There's plenty of vintage things I like in my life. I could be one of them. Excuse me. Seriously, guys. Sorry about this fucking cough. The worst part is, or RP said, the worst part is they're disingenuous. They aren't really offended. They say and laugh at worse things with their friends, but pretend to be offended. That is so incredibly true. The reality is, I am who I am on this channel and off this channel. I'm the same fucking guy. If we met in person, I talk the same way. I talk about the same things. I talk with the same intensity, the same vulgarity. It's just who I am. And when I say things, it's because I mean them. People can like it, they cannot like it. I can't say a bunch because I'm not going to have a bunch. I have a few social justice warrior friends. I will say the same shit to them. I'm not going to pretend that I'm somebody that I'm not. And I also let them know you'll either like me or not like me. But this is a quote that I have always loved. And the quote is, it's better to be hated for who you are than loved for who you are not. That's just me. I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for pretending to be someone that I'm not. It's that simple. It is what it is. Guys, I just realized that I have been doing this for over 2 fucking hours and I need to eat really, really bad. So I have been having a fantastic time, but I think I'm going to end it here so I can go eat and not die. Because if I don't, my blood sugar is going to keep dropping, and yeah, I just don't want to deal with that. But I have to say thank you to all of you for stopping in. I truly, truly appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough. I always appreciate your guys' takes, your perspectives, and your humor. And I had a great time. And now that I have kind of found a way to pay for this streaming, we're going to keep doing this shit. So thank you guys, and I will catch you in the next one.